this aspect that he was not at the scene, that is at house number 13511 Kutlandong Street, First Loras.
Athi-ke malana nomuntu ke ammelela ngaphambi kwesenkantolo futhi malana nodabule enkulu ikhulunywa kwaMnumzane uNgumuzi Veselo washona-ke athi yena-ke umuntu emmele akade angekho-ke lapho-ke kulo muzi walapha i-13511 eKutlwano Street kulo muzi wesigameko.
No, I disagree. That's not what the evidence shows. If you move from the confession made by accused number 2, he implicates accused number 4. If you look at the statements that we dealt with, my lord, composed by Constable Zungu, accused number 4 is implicated. If you look, and I know it's a point of contention, if you look at the DA analysis, even though the conclusion, as I've said, my lord, of the DNA excludes him, but the analysis reads him. There are regions of accused number 4 being read into the DNA that was found inside the house. And that find the corroboration in the confession of accused number 2, who says he went in with accused number 3. After the first shot was fired, when he ran out, accused number 4 went into the house. So I can't say he was not there. If you take that evidence in totality, my lord, it places him at the crime scene, my lord. And further, my lord, last on that part, the collaboration is further confirmed in fairness to the other accused, my lord, in that accused one, even in his own confession, says he was standing outside. And indeed, you don't find his DNA inside the house. And that is now independent before our time. It is said in terms of the confession and the investigation that accused 5 was the driver. And indeed, there is no DNA of him. The investigation points to 3 people who may have been inside the house. And that is where the regions, as much as the conclusion is excluding them, but the regions of all 3, this is now 2, 3, and 4, is found, my lord, at the crime scene.
He was at the peak of his career. Who did not like that?
Is this just...
I'll say it was a hit. Where is the mastermind?
Today, Advocate Nxumalo delivered a masterclass. Hey? And Gininda suddenly remembered his title. Hi. Nyamvuma, Black Mamba, slow poison. Advocate Nxumalo's cross-examination today wasn't just a takedown. It was a spectacular public service announcement. You hear me? Oh, members of the bench, I know I have said this before, and I'm going to say it again to reiterate it so that those at the back can hear me loud and clear, okay? Me, Mrs. Independent, aka I am not a lawyer, I have been saying that Brigadier Gininda and Advocate Baloyi lost a crucial golden opportunity in nailing the Senzo Meyiwa case. Senzo was shot in the house full of 6 adults who saw everything, but they chose to make the Spaza house, okay, a stage for police evidence, a hearsay evidence, and a confession. They make those things to take a center stage, and they ignored the eyewitnesses and the family of Senzo. They never interviewed them. Only Mtogo and Dumelo, and that was it. But today, Advocate Nxumalo exposed the 10 years mystery with only 3 questions. That shows that the lead IO did a shoddy investigation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to watch till the end. Don't skip any part, okay? And because I'm going to talk about Gininda's logic falling apart, the real twist of accused 4, DNA, Advocate Nxumalo's big question, and the role that accused 4 played in the crime. And most importantly, the embarrassing answer that Gininda gave. So I would like you to, stay put, and most importantly, I would love to hear what you really think, your thoughts, because honestly, if you comment on the video, it pushes the video to other like-minded members of the bench. It really pushes, and I really appreciate, guys. I really appreciate you watching my videos. You are watching my videos. I don't have any qualms. I'm happy with that, but only comment in my comment section, because as you comment, then the YouTube pushes the video, okay, to other members who are like-minded. So let me start by welcoming members of the Court of Public Opinion to my channel, The Great Awakening. This is Mrs. Independent, aka I am not a lawyer. Today we unpack yet another episode of Gininda's Chronicles where the real investigation, took a backseat and just vibes took the wheel. Nxumalo, Advocate Nxumalo, as cool as a cucumber, takes aim at Brigadier Gininda's so-called investigation. And guess what? Lands a bull's eye. Let's unpack this, shall we?
That implicates my client, because we have dealt with this issue under cross-examination. But there is one thing that is worrying me. You are saying that according to your investigations, my client was outside when the incident was taking place inside the house. Is that what you are saying?
My lord, if you look at the confessions of accused number 2 in particular, because that is where accused 3, and I've testified about this, that in the confession of accused number 2, that is where you will find the names of accused 2, 3, and 4 as being the role players in this offense kicks in. And insofar as accused 4 is concerned, to answer the question, is that in that confession, it is said that when the shot was fired, accused 2 ran out. And he says in that confession, my lord, as he ran out, accused number 4 was running into the house. That is contained in the confession. And now I was putting that, my lord, in relation to the DNA that was found in the house, that if you take that confession and you corroborate it with the DNA, the forensic evidence, that seems to find some of the regions, the DNA regions of accused 2, 3, and 4 only. It corroborates, my lord.
You see, today Advocate Nxumalo did what prosecutors fear most, asking real questions. Real questions. And Gininda's answers, let's just say, they were more embarrassing than enlightening. So Advocate Nxumalo just asked, whatever investigation that you did, it places my accused outside of the house. His answer is no, it places him outside and inside the house. You heard right. Outside and inside the house. But when you remember, there are no statements or witnesses who said there was a third person who went into the house or third person who entered the house. Not the people inside the house, not people outside who saw the third person going into the house. No one whatsoever. And his answer is, according to the confession of accused 2, accused 2 said after the first shot, when he went out, then accused 4 went into the house. So that changes his position. It means now he was in the house. And when he was asked who saw him in the house, or whose statement does say he was in the house, like he came in the house, guess what? His answer is because people in the house said after the first shot, everyone was scattered. They ran into different rooms, different directions. So there is no way that they could have seen that a third person has entered the house. Speculation. And we are now, expected to believe that no one saw anything because everyone ran into different rooms. That's the answer that the investigating officer gave. Okay, let's give him benefit of the doubt, okay? Let's just say, okay, Brigadier Gininda, it makes sense, sort of sense what you're saying, that people ran into different directions. But now, give us something that we can work with. Advocate Nxumalo asked him, Okay, he asked him ukuthi, okay, after that, did you follow up, especially the confession? Did you follow it up with investigation, interviewing people who were in the house to find out if they might have seen the third suspect? And you know what? He said, no, there was no need. There was no need whatsoever to do that. No need, because people ran into different directions. Yeah. And members of the Court of Public Opinion, I'm gonna tell you what I think. Okay, I mean, my mind is troubled, just like Advocate Nxumalo said his mind is troubled. I am troubled by a lead IO who thinks I saw no need is an acceptable answer in the court of law. I am troubled by that. I am troubled by a case built on the shaky confessions and selective signs. I am troubled. I am troubled by the fact that Brigadier Gininda didn't think just maybe someone in the house might have seen something or remembered something, or the voice, the whatever, the shoe or whatever, wherever they were hiding. Brigadier Gininda, as a lead IO, chose to trust the chaos of the scene where everyone supposedly fled over a proper follow-up. You didn't even try to verify if a third person entered the house, but you are happy to build a case around confession. Now, here is the heart of the problem. Brigadier Gininda showed zero curiosity about what might have been remembered by the very people who were in the house when Senzo Meyiwa was shot. Period. Members of the Court of Public Opinion, if you are still here, thank you so much. Kindly drop a heart emoji, or flowers, or a fire emoji on the comment section. So let's go further, because I have that clip, so don't drop off. I have that clip where you can hear for yourself Advocate Nxumalo delivering a spectacular public announcement. Just wait for it. But before we get there, Advocate Nxumalo didn't just end there. He went further to ask Brigadier Gininda ukuthi, what role did my client accused for play in the commission of this crime? And the answer from the lead IO is, it's in the confession of accused 2, my lord. What? It's in the confession of accused 2, my lord. That's when Advocate Nxumalo reminded the court of something that any first-year law student would know. I don't know, Ulono Gininda is a first year, or he's in the 4th year of his law, studies. So he reminded the court that a confession made by one accused cannot be used against another. That is not just a technicality or a court protocol. That is a fundamental rule of law. So why is Gininda leaning on that confession like it's a gospel truth? Why? Because, here is the kicker. Here is the real kicker. He didn't do any follow-up investigation. Nothing whatsoever. He didn't. Advocate Nxumalo wasn't done. He pointed to the DNA found on the head, the same head allegedly worn by one of the intruders. So this is the real twist of the DNA that brought by Advocate Nxumalo. He asked Brigadier Gininda how many intruders wore a head on that day when Senzo was shot. Brigadier Gininda wasn't done embarrassing himself. He said only one intruder wore a hat. And Advocate Nxumalo, naturally so calm. And then he asked, if only one person wore the hat, how do you explain my client's DNA being there? Aye, U-turn of the world. Okay, members of the Court of Public Opinion, let's rewind. You remember when Brigadier Gininda had once stood before this very court and declared that while the DNA exclude the accused, he said, we cannot ignore that their profiles were read in some of the regions. Ah, yes, the magical some regions, okay? That vague make his own where science and speculation have lunch together, you know? Some regions. But today, when Advocate Nxumalo cornered him and asked him about that same DNA on the head, Kininda suddenly remembered his job title. He remembered his job title. His response was like, I'm not a scientist. I don't want to speculate. Oh, my word. How convenient. Because back when the narrative suited the prosecution, Kininda was perfectly happy to speculate all the way into some regions I don't want to mention. But now that he's under pressure, he clashes his police badge and says, I'm not qualified, I'm not a scientist. This is not just a selective memory, it's a selective expertise. Let's call it for what it is. 1 minute, Kininda is interpreting complex DNA profiles. The next minute, he won't even guess how someone else's DNA landed on a head worn by one person because he doesn't want to speculate. So, which is it, Brigadier? Are you the DNA whisperer or just the lead investigator who digs every question? Either way, you don't get to pick and choose when science works for your case. Yabona today, we've seen it all. We've seen it all. A confession that can't legally be used, a head with questionable DNA, a lead investigator who wants to interpret science one day and disown it the next day. If this was an investigation, guys, I am a rocket scientist, okay? So let's take a listen to the soundbite that I've promised you. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, comment on the comment section. This is Mrs. Independent, aka I'm not a lawyer, but today, special, a classic dish of contradiction served hot, courtesy of Brigadier Kininda and his DNA deja vu. Until the next one, keep the love, don't skip the ads because we are financially assisting this channel. Until the next one, comment, and comment. Okay, let's take a listen.
The understanding, Brigadier, that accused number 4, Mr. Mapisa, entered the house. You got it from the inadmissible confession of accused number 2, which could not be used against my client.
The presence of his name, my lord, came in from that confession, and then subsequently investigation was done and other evidence was collected, my lord. I've made mention, for example, of Constable Zungu, for example.
That you got from the statement, the confession statement of accused number 2, did you follow it up with the witnesses? Did you obtain any statement? Because I'm raising this, none of the witnesses mentioned this in their statement, even in court. When they were led by my learned colleague for the state, there is no evidence directing to the fact that a dead suspect entered the house after the 2 had entered. It's only coming up from you, Brigadier, from your investigation.
I've indicated that's not correct. I've said it comes from the confessions of accused number 2. And my understanding, those confessions forms part of this court's record. It's written there. If perhaps Advocate Nxumalo does not recall, we can go to it. It is contained there. He made a confession first to Lieutenant Colonel Rapado and to Mrs. Cronje, the magistrate. It is contained there where accused 4 is being mentioned as running in when he was running out, my lord.
When aware of the contents of those confessions, but the question is, did you follow it up? Did you investigate it to form evidence alluded to the commission of the offense or to support what is being said in that confession? Did you follow it up with the witnesses? Did you obtain statements to confirm what Ntanzi is saying in his confession as evidence alluded to the commission of the offense? Did you do that?
My lord, so when you collaborate, and I indicated when we dealt with the trial, on this main trial, the collaboration I did. The witnesses, and I'll go back, the witness inside the house indicate that after the first shot was fired, they ran away, my lord. Going back to them to ask what happened after that, my lord, how will they know? It's logic, my lord, that they will not know. Because if you look at the confession of accused 2, he indicates that he was inside the house when the first shot was fired. It's only after the first shot that was fired that he runs out, and simultaneously as he's running out, people were running, is contained in their statements, different to the different directions or sectors of the house. So they will not have known. But insofar as the collaboration, my lord, you find it in the forensic scientific evidence that I'm speaking about, that I knew of 2 people. Now the third person is being mentioned. Now the analysis of the scientist picks up the third, some of the third regions, as much as they're not 16, but he picks some of them which connect accused number 4 as being the donor of that DNA. That corroborates, my lord, what is being said in the confession of accused number 2. And it's objective evidence because it's scientific. It's not who said, he said. It's only accused.
We now know the roles that were played by the 2 intruders. What role did he play, that is accused number 4, after he had entered inside the house? What role did he play, according to your investigations?
All we know is that he went inside the house and no one was able to indicate what happened when he went inside the house, because accused 2 had ran away at that time, and people were inside ran into different compartments of the house, my lord. Other than Mr. Twala, who ran out, the 2 Twalas actually, both of them ran out. The other one went over the wall and came back. The other one, Longwe, ran, not so sure where, but those are the 2 that ran out of the house. Others ran to different bedrooms, my lord. So we don't have evidence that indicates what role he played after he went in, my lord, except that he went in.
We don't know.
We know he went in, my lord, acting in common purpose with accused number 3, who was inside the house at that stage.
In terms of the role that he played, you don't know.
As a qualification, once again, we don't want to interfere with my learned friend's cross-examination, but these are matters for argument. Evidence is before court. These are points that he can argue, at the relevant time. Why should this witness, be asked about what the evidence is there against accused number 4? The evidence is on record. These are matters that can be argued. We submit that this is an unfair question to Brigadier Gelina.
So in terms of your investigation, you don't know the role that he played?
My lord, I indicated we know there was a common purpose. The left Basutin was there together. We know that when accused 2 and 3 went inside the house, he was outside. That is the role. When accused number 2 ran out, he ran in. What we don't know is what did he do when he was with accused number 3 inside the house. But he went in because accused number 3 was still inside the house, and then subsequent to that, there is evidence in the investigation that 3 people were seen running away after that, my lord, to the direction of the park, 1 carrying a firearm. So we know he went in. We don't have evidence in terms of the specific role he played when he went inside, but we know the role he played up to the time he went inside the house in support of accused number 3, who was inside the house, my lord.
In terms of your investigations, Brigadier, how many suspects were wearing the hat, which is a subject matter in this case?
1, my lord.
That is where my mind is troubled. Then how do you read DNA results from my client, which was won by 1 suspect?
My lord, I'm not a scientist, but my understanding and experience has taught me that you don't have to wear something in order to transfer your DNA. I could be holding this bottle of water. By the time I put it down, my fingerprint and DNA in terms of the sweat is there. So I don't want to speculate, but it will be incorrect to say you actually have to put on the head to transfer your DNA. It can be transferred in various ways. You can bleed, the droplet of blood can go in, but that's not my area of expertise. But to suggest that you have to wear a hat in order for the DNA to be transferred, that's not my understanding. You can transfer it in many ways. You can try to pick it up.
In terms of people or a person placing him outside the house, you don't have any direct evidence. You don't have any direct evidence from the witness who saw him standing outside.
Pardon?
You don't have any direct evidence from a witness or persons who saw him standing outside the house.
Malota indicated that the people inside the house, and I'm referring now about people who may have witnessed people, only refer to 2 people who went inside the house, and that is what is contained in their statement.